Hey everybody, welcome or welcome back to my channel. I am so glad that you are here. Y'all, today the sun is shining. Oh my goodness. I'm so glad the sun is shining yet again. And I am in my high tunnel. It is still chilly outside, but it's not cold. There is a difference. If you are brand new to joining my channel, my name is Barbara. I live in Tennessee in Zone 7B. And y'all, for the last 2 weeks, it has been not chilly, not cold, but frigid. It has been frigid. But today we see the light. So I think today's high is like 45 degrees, which feels like a nice, I ain't gonna say a summer day. It feels like a spring day in the greenhouse. In the greenhouse, I didn't even look at the temperature, but if I had to guess, it's at least 75 degrees. But in this spot right here, like I can feel the sun beaming down on me, and I am glad about it. Immediately, it's like a mood lifter. Oh my goodness, y'all. I went outside earlier this morning, to just kind of, do the little temperature test. And it hit me as I looked at my front yard, my landscaping. I'm ready for spring. I'm over this. I've been good, haven't complained, but I'm done. Winter, you can say bye. You've run your course. You have finished your race. It is now time for you to say goodbye. But y'all, I'm so glad, again, just to feel the sun, automatically your mood just lifts. My husband said, it feels good out here.
It's 80 degrees.
Oh, is it 80?
Yeah.
He said it's 80 degrees in the high tunnel. Unbelievable. So y'all, what we're going to do today is we're taking the covers off. We are taking the covers off. Everything has been doubly covered because if depending on where you live, you probably know there was a huge winter storm. It was kind of like it came in two waves. And so in the last video, you saw that I was preparing for, not the last video that you see, but in a few videos ago, you saw that we were doing preparation for the second wave where the temperatures were going to drop to around to single digits, but the wind chill factor was going to be like 5 below 0. And so you saw me like doubly covered everything versus on the first wave, it was just one single cover. And so before we covered it, we saw that we had food still left, which was a blessing. I anticipate we're still gonna have food. And so we're gonna uncover everything and let it breathe. And we are going to water today. My stuff has not been watered in 3 weeks because right before the winter storm, we watered it, but the temperatures have been so cold and so frigid that you don't want to water anytime it's below 40 degrees. You don't want to water your plants unless you're going to water it ahead of time before the temperatures drop. But for the last 3 weeks, the temperatures have been low. We've been in single digits pretty much most of the time at night, and during the day, it's probably been like 20 degrees or below. So needless to say, in Tennessee, it's been a bit frigid. So my stuff is looking, but I can already see like my sage back there. It's drooping, but it's not dead. It's like, don't count me out. So I'm gonna give everything a good drink of water, and we're gonna uncover everything today because for the next 10-day forecast, I think the lowest is gonna be one night is gonna be 20, but everything is gonna be like 30, 35. And so all of this stuff will be 100% fine with those temperatures. And I really hope that this is the last time that we had to cover. Hopefully we will uncover to cover no more. But let's get busy. We're going to uncover everything, and then we're going to give it a good water and just check on everything and see how everything looks after 2 rounds of frigid, cold winter storms. My husband and I both said that at the end of this day, it felt so good to be back in the garden. Like I said, during the fall and winter, I come out here like once a week, and that's it, because it doesn't require anything else. And my husband, he really hasn't been out here because there's been really nothing, any heavy lifting for him to do. But on this particular day, it's 45 degrees outside, but it's 85 in the tunnel. It felt like old times. The sun was like beaming and beating down, which felt good on the skin. And then just to us be out here together to get something done was really, really nice. So we just start to take all the covers off. We start with the raised beds and then also move on to the back to take the covers off of the in-ground stuff as well. And as I'm taking off the covers, I'm looking to see how things are looking. And things still look good, which the winter storm, the second one, only lasted about 3 days. Versus the first one lasted a good 8 days. and I had checked on it in between, so I wasn't surprised that things were still looking good, and I was glad to see it. But let me tell you, everything was really, really dry. It had not been watered in 3 weeks, just because the last time that I watered, I caught it before the storm, and then the temperatures were just way too cold to do it during the winter storm, and so they were definitely thirsty. But the thing about it is that definitely in the wintertime, you know, we have mulch down in a lot of the areas, which helps to retain moisture. And then also the plants don't need as much moisture during the wintertime or as much water. So even though it had been 3 weeks, they were still, of course, alive. Versus, think about in the summertime, you know, in the heat of the summer, plants could not go 3 weeks without any water or so. So we get busy, we take all the covers off, and we decide that we're going to take the covers off and eventually just put them up later this week. We were debating and talking, do we think we're going to get another storm, or where the temperatures are going to drop down low? And as I thought about it, I don't think so. But again, that's just my best guess. I'm not the weatherman or whatever. But I was thinking, in order for me to cover all of this stuff over again, it would literally have to be like 15 degrees or below for, I would say, at least 3+ days. One night, one day at 15 degrees, I'm not going to cover it. And then, yeah, it would have to be a sustained period of time. So as we were talking and taking the covers off, I think we just decided to go ahead and say, hey, let's just put them up. Now, we don't put them up on this day just because it takes 2 of us to fold and kind of put them away. But we did get all of the covers off, which was great and helped us get a jump start on being able to water and also being able to harvest, which you'll see later in the video. So we got all of the raised beds taken care of. And so now we're in the back of the high tunnel uncovering the stuff that's out here in the back. And as you can see, I'm always looking. I'm like, I still have green. Green is a sign of life. It's not brown. It's not yellow. It's green. So that is a good sign. You can tell that even though they're green, they look a little like wimpy. And that's just because they need some water. But we continue to take the covers off and uncover and see what's what under there. And again, very, very blessed, very grateful that our stuff survived. You can see that we have quite a bit of cleaning up to do in the high tunnel. And my husband and I were talking. It seems like we reach this point every time in the season and think, man, how come we just can't keep this place clean? And I guess after 4 years, I just have to sum it up with, you know, during the summer it's so busy. Really during the year it's busy, and we're doing the best that we can to just grow the food, maintain it, and to harvest it. And so sometimes the cleanup and the maintenance just goes by the wayside just because we're just trying to keep our heads above water. And I guess maybe until life slows down or changes, it'll just be that way, that we'll take 2 times out of the year, in the fall and in the spring, to clean it up, straighten up, and all of that. So that is definitely on our docket. Hopefully next week. The temperatures look great next week, so we're hoping to get out here and at least just tidy up, get some of all the dead stuff out, and just, you know, get it looking a little bit better. Okay, y'all, so all the covers are off. Anything that was dead or just, you know, had been not good, we pulled up. I still have food and plenty of it. I will do and y'all, it's quite warm in here. Like, I could be in a short sleeve shirt and be okay. I've had to kind of go outside to get a breath of fresh air and come back in. But let me show you how things are looking. My husband just turned on the water. He's kind of getting the kinks out of the line, and we're gonna water everything. So you can see here, cabbages. You can see here, cabbages are looking great. Brussels sprouts. Look at how big some of these Brussels sprouts are. That looks great. More cabbages there. Cabbage. All of these are collard greens. Across the aisle, you see our kale. It's looking good. More collards. Brussels sprouts all along this way. I have one Brussels sprout that was just like tore up, but all the rest of them look okay. I'm just gonna take this one out, but all the rest of these collards and stuff look okay. Let me show you back here the sage. You can see the beds are half empty because we took out the stuff. Like, that's where lettuce and stuff was. We had taken that out before the storm. So that's what's left. You see we got carrots there. This bed is pretty much empty. This is where we had all of our broccoli. That's gone. We got some spinach there, doing okay. And then we have some arugula there. Okay, y'all, so all good. We got more stuff in the in-ground because that's where the collards and the cabbages and Brussels sprouts were, and kale in the beds. The beds are sparse, but they were sparse before the winter storm because we harvested as much as we could. We harvested lettuce, we harvested all of the broccoli, and pulled that up. And what else? The bok choy. And so the beds are sparse, which is fine. I am a-okay with that because we will fill it back in with some spring stuff, and then we'll start to get it ready for the summer stuff. Because I remember, I'm not doing another succession planting of any fall things. I will do lettuce and cilantro, but that's about it. And I probably will do more carrots. Yeah, that's about it. But I'm not doing any more cabbages, collard greens, kale. I'm not doing any more of that type of stuff. So the beds, but again, we're talking February. So that's pretty normal in terms of our pace and cadence outside of the fall things. Normally, I would have already done a fall, a third succession planting in January. We would be planting that stuff out now. We just don't have that just because life. But I am pleased with everything. We got still food to harvest. We have kale to harvest. We have Brussels sprouts to harvest. We have cabbages to harvest. We have collard greens to harvest. But first, what we're going to do is we're about to get this stuff watered. Everything is dry, but it's hanging on, but it's thirsty. So let's go ahead and give everything a good water, and then we'll kind of go from there. Okay, guys, everything's watered. While I was doing that, my husband picked or harvested Brussels sprouts. We pretty much have a whole pail or container full. We still have more, but the ones that are left are smaller, need to get bigger. But this is quite a bit. This is probably enough for 3 meals, and I think one of those meals is going to be tonight. So now I think what we're going to do is harvest our carrots. I'm going to do another planting of carrots, not today, but at some point for the spring. And so I want to go ahead and harvest this because I may just use the same space to do carrots again. So let's go ahead and harvest the carrots. Carrots are always so fun because you never know what you're going to get. You just pull them up. Oh, she's pretty. Look at that. So pretty. So my husband, he hasn't had a chance to harvest anything in a minute, so I'm going to let him do that. Now, some of these are a little bit close together, so they're not as big, but they're still a pretty good size. So he'll just keep going and going and going, and we'll see, let you know what we get. But the carrots that I do are Bolero carrots, which is a storage carrot, and so you can store carrots literally up to a year in your refrigerator. I have a whole video that I did probably a couple of years ago now about how I do that. I still have carrots. I probably have I don't know if I had to guess, maybe 10 or so from last year. And so this will become right on time to add more carrots to the list. Now, I see they're not as big as they were last year. And again, some of these, again, I use pelleted carrots, but I did not do as good of a job as I should have done. You can see like that's okay, yeah, that's a nice size. But last year they were bigger, and so it could be just, you know, the soil is not as rich. I had them too close together or whatever. I'm not gonna complain. It happens like that sometimes, but we'll go ahead and pull all of these and let you know what we get. Okay, so my husband harvested a whole basket of carrots. Of course it looks big because you got all the greenery. So this is probably the biggest one that we have. We have a few that are like that are that size, which is like a perfect size, good size carrot. But we have several other ones that are smaller. And so I want to kind of explain that because I want to just show you the good and the bad and what happens sometimes. And so I use pelleted seeds, one, so I don't have to thin things out. Because the pelleted seeds have a coating on them where you can see the individual carrot seed versus when you use regular carrot seeds, they're so small that it's hard to plant just one. But with the pelleted seed, you can plant just one. I think that my pelleted seeds, if I remember correctly, they only last for a year. That's the one thing about pelleted seeds. Whenever you buy them, just buy enough for a year. So I think the ones that I was using, I don't remember that day specifically, but my carrots grew closer together. So I did one or two things. I either put 2 seeds in a spot versus one to try to increase germination. So maybe my packet said, you know, lower germination. I get them from Johnny's. Either that was the case, and or I could possibly see that I may have been hurting that day in terms of bending over and I was being lazy with it. I don't know which one it is. It may be a combination of both. But the point is that they're definitely smaller than what I've gotten before, and they were too close together. And so that's definitely a mistake on me. And so even though, let's just say I put 2 together and they both germinated, when I saw that they were growing close together, I still could have went out and thinned them so that way they would be bigger. But for whatever reason, I didn't do that. It is what it is at this point. But I don't want to just show you when I'm doing things perfect. I want to show you just real life. And that's real life. I got a lot of carrots that are like this size, right? Is it still edible? Yeah, but it's not. Let me just show you the difference. You can see kind of the difference between, hold on, let me move the greenery. You can kind of see the difference between this one and this one. Still edible, but not as much carrot because of me planting them too close together, not thinning them out, being lazy, whatever the case may be. I'm pretty sure that day I probably was in some pain. You guys know I have suffered with some knee pain and all of that stuff. I'm trying to remedy that. That's neither here nor there, but I just wanted to show you that if your carrots are looking smaller, it is because they're too close together. That's what it is. They have to have at least a good 2 to 4 inches apart in order to have space to grow to get bigger carrots. Also, maybe my soil in that particular, maybe I didn't fertilize it enough. I don't know, but whatever reason, it's smaller. That's okay. We're going to plant more. We still were able to get carrots. And again, sometimes it's like that. You don't always have the most perfect harvest, but I do have a harvest. So what I will do now is I will cut the green tops. I'll save that to go into broth. And then we'll wash these carrots up and get them ready to be stored. And so we got Brussels sprouts, we have carrots. My husband's also harvesting some kale right now. And I think, y'all, these poor collard greens, I keep saying I will come out and get these collard greens. But the thing with the collard greens is that once you harvest them, I gotta have time to do something with them. And that has been my issue. It's on me. And it's still not gonna happen today because I don't have the time, the brain power, or the capacity, or the bandwidth to harvest all of them and take them in the house, clean them, and get them ready for storage. But by God's grace, it is going to happen this week. It's just not going to happen on this video. And y'all, that's real life. That's real life. Again, I know that some of you think that I always have it together. I'm always so organized. I strive to be, but that is not real life. It's not. There are things that don't make it because I didn't make it out here or whatever the case may be. That is not that is more the exception than the rule, but there's sometimes in life where that becomes the rule because of what you may have going on in your life. And so I say all that to not highlight me, but to give you permission and to encourage you that sometimes when it's not perfect, it doesn't mean stop. It just means accept that in this day, in this hour, in this season, that maybe that was the best that you could do. And you will do better when you can do better, okay? Hopefully that was for somebody to encourage you. All right. So he's going to do the kale. And you don't have to do all of it, honey. Just a basket full is fine. Yeah. Because with the kale, we can just come out here and get it every week. I usually just try to get enough for the week, that whatever we're going to eat. And I've been eating a lot of it fresh versus putting it in the freezer. I think I have a couple of bags in the freezer. I will do that maybe towards the end. And we'll use it for like smoothies, but I prefer and eat most of the kale fresh in kale salads versus a smoothie. But we will have plenty of kale in the freezer before the season is over to use throughout the year. Okay, guys, we got a whole basket of kale. Looks great. Y'all, this is a basket of kale in February after 2 major winter storms. Still doing good. So, y'all, one of the things I forgot to mention is that with the covers, we took the covers off, and my husband and I made an executive decision that we're going to put the covers up. That, we were thinking about, like, okay, is it, should we keep them out? Do we think it's going to be that low again? And I don't know. And again, for me to put the covers back on, it's going to have to be below 20 degrees sustained. And when I say below 20, I don't even mean 19. Like, it's going to be below like 15 degrees, like for like 3 or 4 days on end in order for me to pull the covers out and to cover everything back again. And I just don't feel in my spirit that that's going to happen. Now, I could be wrong. And I told my husband, ultimately, I said, you make the decision because you're going to be the one that's going to have to pull them all out. And he was like, well, I'm gonna go with you. I'm gonna go with you. So I think we're going to, at some point this week, put them up, and I'm praying and hoping that we don't have to cover any more. Typically, January and February, usually January is the hardest month for us here in Tennessee in terms of temperatures. February can be, but I don't think we're going to get down that low again. And I'm saying that in faith, but I'm also looking at the 10-day forecast. The next 10 days looks wonderful compared to what we just had. But if we have to put them back out again, we will. But it won't be because it's 20 degrees at night. That's not going to happen. It's going to have to be another winter storm like what we just had in order for us to pull these things back out again. But then also, depending on when and if that happens, I may be less concerned about what is left in here. Again, my biggest thing that I need that I have not done are those collard greens. I need collard greens for the freezer to last us for the rest of the year. I need to really harvest this week so that I can get one more round of collard greens, and then we will be good. Because usually around April, they're going to start bolting because the temperatures are going to change, and it's going to start being warm in the greenhouse. Even though it may be like 60 degrees outside, it may be 90 degrees in here. And usually around the end of March, 1st of April, they start to bolt. So it's February now. If I can harvest collard greens this week, that'll give them a chance to grow one more time, and then harvest those. We will have plenty for the freezer, because I know if I harvest all these that are out here right now, I'll have plenty of bags. And we have, I would say we probably have 5 or 6 gallons of collard greens in the freezer right now. But to go throughout the year, that won't be a lot, because of course collard greens cook down, so you got to have quite a bit to start with. But that is that, y'all. I got to get these collard greens. I have to. That is the plan. The only thing left, I didn't harvest arugula today. I might could add that to my kale salad. And then we have some bok choy that needs to get a little bit bigger. Other than that, I think we are good to go. These beds are primarily, just spotting, here and there, meaning it's not a lot of stuff in the bed. So we're going to start turning our focus towards spring and summer for the most part when it comes to these beds here. But y'all, I'm so glad that we were able to get in the greenhouse today, and that we were able to work quite comfortably. Like, we got both front and back open. It has been very, very pleasant. And it has been quite a bit of an invigoration. Is that a word? Invigorating. That is a word. It's funny how it just lifts your spirits, the sunshine, and I think God has designed it that way. But I hope that wherever you are, if you're gardening in the fall and the winter, I hope that your gardens are doing well. If you took a break, I hope that you're getting excited about the spring and summer season. Let me also just remind you that I am doing a seed starting workshop this upcoming weekend. It will be virtual on Sunday, February the 8th from 1 to 3. If you have not registered, I don't know what you're waiting on. If you don't know how to start seeds, make sure that you get into that class. I will put the link in the description or in the first comment. Seed starting workshop happening this Sunday on February the 8th. Until next time, guys, remember, gardening is a journey, but let's do it together. I'll see you next time, friend.